And the Declaration of Independence it is written, all men are created equal. No matter how hard you try, you can never erase those words from the Declaration of Independence. No matter how hard you try, you can never chip those words from the face of the Statue of Liberty.
Harvey Milk, there's so much that I could say to you about this man, but I hope the one thing that you take away from watching this documentary is that he did start a revolution. He did get reactions out of people, and he did cause reform, not only in his lifetime, but in mine as well. Harvey Milk was born May 22nd, 1930. He was America's first openly homosexual man elected into the California Board of Supervisors. He didn't only run on a platform of homosexual rights, but that is his claim to fame. That sprung him into the homes of millions of Americans. He got feedback from people, both good and bad. But he didn't speak to just homosexuals. In the Hope speech that he gives, he addresses not only the homosexuals, but the blacks, the Asians, the disabled. He says, the us's.
Somewhere in Des Moines or San Antonio, there's a young gay person who all of a sudden realizes that she or he is gay, knows that if the parents find out, they'll be tossed out of the house. The classmates would taunt the child, and the Anita Bryants and John Briggs are doing their bit on TV, and that child has several options. Staying in a closet, suicide, and then one day that child might open a paper and it says homosexual elected to San Francisco, and there are two new options. The option is to go to California, and stay in San Antonio and fight without hope. Not only gays, but those blacks, the Asians, the disabled, the seniors, the S's. Without hope, the S's give up. I know that you cannot live on hope alone, but without it, life is not worth living. And you gotta give them hope. Thank you.
Maybe I liked Harvey because almost everything, anytime he'd make a speech about anything, I agreed with him. So then I thought he was a great man because I agreed with what he talked about. But you could hear where he was coming from. He was coming from people, positions, if it had to do with parks, or it had to do with schools, or it had to do with police protection, anything that affected little people.
Now, as inspirational as this may sound, and as inspirational as this is, he had a lot of criticism, a lot of hate. Briggs was trying to rally the public support for Proposition 6. Proposition 6 would have been a ban in California on homosexuals in education.
Every homosexual, every lesbian.
Briggs mounted a campaign for Proposition 6, a statewide measure to deny homosexuals their jobs in public schools.
Now, what Proposition 6 is really all about is the right of parents to determine who will be teaching their children. We don't allow people who believe in practicing bestiality to teach our children. We don't let prostitutes teach our children. And the reason we don't is because it's illegal to be a prostitute. But it's not illegal to be a homosexual in California.
Proposition 6 brought the issue of homosexuality into the homes of millions of Californians, and it thrust Harvey Milk into a statewide spotlight.
There are already laws on the books to protect our children. Everybody from superintendent of schools, Wilson Riles, to Jerry Brown, to newspaper editors across the state, agree that indeed we have the laws to protect our children. I was born of heterosexual parents,
I was taught by heterosexual teachers in a fiercely heterosexual society with television ads and newspaper ads, fiercely heterosexual, a society that puts down homosexuality. And why am I homosexual if I'm affected by role models? I should have been a heterosexual. And no offense meant, but if teachers are going to affect you as role models, there'd be a lot of nuns running around the streets today.
Harvey Milk was assassinated November 27, 1978, along with the fellow politician George Moscone, by Dan White.
Code 3, room 200. I'm in the mayor's office.
311, 1023 for one moment. We're trying to ascertain what is happening. Room 237, please, quick.
An ambulance over here. Get an ambulance. A unit over here. Get another ambulance over here, will you?
We're monitoring the homicide here.
I'll go over there so I can go.
Okay.
Yeah, where are the victims going?
I don't know if they're going anywhere. They're supposed to, Harvey Milk and the mayor are supposed to be DOA.
As president of the board, as president of the board of supervisors, it's my duty to make this announcement. Both Mayor Moscone and Supervisor Harvey Milk have been shot and killed. The suspect is Supervisor Dan White.
I believe this was really nothing more than a hate crime. He didn't like Harvey Milk personally. He didn't like the things he was trying to pass or what he stood for. There hasn't been another Milk to step up to the plate and take up his mantle and stand in front of crowds of people and tell the world that it is okay to be gay, that it is normal, it is natural, that it's okay to be proud of yourself. You don't have to hide behind something that you're not. I look forward to the day when someone will step forward. I do find it possible because since Milk's time, I believe people have become more open with discussing sexuality, more open to the possibility of tolerance, acceptance, being at peace with it. And I think that all sprung from Mr. Milk and what he believed in and what he said. And if we never had a Harvey Milk, we would not be even as far along as we are. Harvey Milk not only had the courage to make stands on important issues, but also had the courage to challenge those who stood against him. He addressed what he called the Bible thumpers. These people were people who used the Bible as a scapegoat for hate against homosexuality.
We know that's
okay. All right.
What
about it being sinful?
That's sinful. Read the Gospels. You know, everybody thumps the Bible. Read the Gospels. The teachings of Christ, the life of Christ, the books of the Gospel. And it's never mentioned once. In fact, Christ talks about love.
Because of Harvey Milk's contribution to the gay community and to human rights in general, May 22nd has been made Harvey Milk Day in California. There is, as with everything he did, a group against this called Save California, and they believe homosexuality is not a choice, and it is not something you are born with, and only 1.7 of the over 18 population of the United States claims themselves as gay, and you can become an ex-gay. You don't have to feel this way, you don't have to sin, as they claim. And I do not think that it is right that they are using God, because they are a primarily religious group, they are using God as a tool of hate. God is not to be used as a tool of hate. He is not to be used as a tool at all. God, if you believe, is just love. That is what I believe they should take away from the Bible.